Black TORA, never enough. This is a CVT lesson for Dominic. Let me see how many pages we got. I want to say 8 or 6. Let me see. 6 pages on this. And what I did, everything that's notated as far as techniques you're going to see in your tabs, basically did like one of those legend things where it tells you what symbol stands for palm muting, which one stands for sliding, hammer-ons, pull-offs, breaks and rests, vibrato, pinch harmonics, all that good old stuff. And when you have like a combination technique of a hammer-on and a pull-off, all of it's notated. What I did is I put everything in sections for you. I time-stamped everything so you can match it up with the... I use the official video for it, and it actually kicks in at 7 seconds. It just has that dead time at the beginning of the video. And it's tuned flat, so if you're not familiar with that, it's basically, I'm going to give you the strings and what you would tune it to. Everything is 1 fret lower. So you have D sharp, G sharp, C sharp, F sharp, A sharp, and D sharp. That's written in your tabs. Very self-explanatory and in detail, man, the tabs. And this video will be as well. You had mentioned you didn't want the guitar solo, so I got the rhythm behind the solo, and that you were kind of concerned with playing it exactly like them, and had mentioned simplifying it. I went ahead and did it the way that they played it, exact, and but when you're hitting chords and stuff like that, you can do process of elimination if something's not working right. Now most of these chords are like 2-string chords, so I don't think you're gonna have issue with that. But techniques, if you have a pull off on something, if that's too difficult to do the way they're doing it, then go ahead and pick it. But I went ahead and gave you the exact way. But you'll see when you get the tabs. If there's stuff you need simplified, the palm muting, if that's too tricky on certain parts, then don't palm mute it. That can kind of be in your court as far as, you know, picking and choosing, and you'll know once you go through this what the harder parts are. So yeah, we got a lot of sections here, a lot of parts in this song. Section 1 is like this, because like I said, I got everything sectioned off for you, so when it repeats, I'll refer section 1 2 times or whatever. It's all notated. Alright, so the first part is... Now this is in, I would kind of look at this as in quarters. That would be the first quarter. Okay, and then your next one would be, actually your next one would start off that power chord, but oops. That would be the midpoint of the section. Then the third quarter of this is very similar to the first section, which would be... Then the fourth quarter is completely different. Alright, so let's break this down. Palm mute the open A string twice. And you know, palm muting, you're going right in front of the bridge. You're going to choke the note if you go too far up. So just, if you're not really comfortable with the palm muting aspect, practice, you know, it's got to rest off your palm here. And the best place is right there on the bridge, but you should be not behind it, obviously, but to where your palm is touching the strings. Palm muting is a big part. Their tone is killer, man. I don't know what they're using amp-wise. I wasn't looking. But their pickups and everything, just a killer sound. So, fingering. I've notated that for the parts I thought you would need it. It's up in the air on other parts. You can kind of pick and choose. You need 7th fret on the D and G. And what I'm doing is barring it. I'm taking my first finger going to 7D and 7G. But you can also use 2 fingers if that feels too weird. You know, pick and choose, experiment with fingerings. You're going to gravitate towards one more than another. But you can do some work in advance here by go ahead and setting those 7th frets down on the D and G. And that way we're going to go open A, palm mute it twice, hit the D and G, no palm mute, and then palm mute the open A again once. So we have, and that could be a subgroup as well. And if you don't put the palm muting, man, you're going to really notice a difference. So I'd really try to try to get used to the palm muting. It's up and down on some of these parts, which makes it a little trickier. And then hit that 7 D and G again, slide it a whole step flat. What a whole step flat means is 2 frets. So we're gonna pick 7 D and G, slide it to 5. Once you get there, palm mute the open A twice, and then we need to go middle 5 D, third finger 5 G, first finger 4 G. You have 2 fingers on the same string. Here's why. You're gonna hit the D and G, and you're gonna pull off the 5th fret on the G to the 4th fret on the G. Now make sure this middle finger is not angled down to where it mutes out the G. That would be a problem. And sometimes when people go to do a pull off, because the pressure of it is coming downward, the force of it, a lot of times it'll drag the other finger down, and that can mute out the whole concept of that pull off. And you want that pull off to sound clear. You hear 2 notes. So we have, after you do that, hit the open A palm muted, and then hit the 5 4 D G again, and then we have 2 3 A. So we have, and then this. Then the second quarter of this is a power chord, open A 2 D. Hit both those at the same time, and then open A palm mute, back to the 7 D and G again. Open A palm mute, 7 D and G again, sliding to 5. The trick when you're sliding, make sure, usually when people are descending on slides, sometimes they don't hear the target note. They're more comfortable with ascending slides going up this way. So keep the pressure as you're sliding. That in itself should ring out the 5th fret. You don't have to pick the 5s when you get there. And then open A palm muted twice. Then this is different. 3A, you're going to pick and pull off to an open. After you do that, palm mute the open A. Now that in itself, man, you could subgroup it if you need to. Pick, pull, and then palm mute the A. You can grab the 2 opens before it. Very important, man, to subgroup, because that'll assure you it won't seem as overwhelming if you take it in a few chunks at a time. So then we have a power chord 3D 5G. Let it ring. Back to the open A 2D, open A, and then we're back here again to the 7 D and G, palm muted open A, 7 D and G, slide to 5, open A palm muted twice, and then we're back to this 5D 5G. And you're going to pick those and pull off the 5th fret G to the 4th fret G. So we need that index down again, just like the first quarter. Open A palm mute, and then the 5 4 D G again. Then we got this 2 3 A, and then 1 3 3 on the E, A, and D. If that's a little too much, you can get rid of the D string and just play it as a straight power chord, which would be the E and A, 1 and 3. That's what I'm talking about as far as process of elimination, and if you want things simplified, that's one way to do it. So you'll hit it, those 3 together. Try to put a downward angle with your index to where it mutes these. It's a good habit, even if it slows you down at first. You'll hit it once, rest, and then twice. Then take that whole chord, move it a whole step sharp, 3 5 5. And then I put the strum directions on this. You can alter it if you need to. If you want it all downs, it can be played that way. But here's how they're doing it. Up, up, down. Move to the 4 6 6, same strings. Go up, up, down. Then go open E, 2A, 2D. I bar that. You can do 2 fingers if you want. A lot of the rock guys, you'll notice, do this though, because it serves a good purpose, because you can mute the underneath if you accidentally hit them, right? So up, up, down. So you would have, from this power chord part, oops, try it again. Where the rests come in are kind of tricky, because you have to make the movement before the rest. In other words, when I hit the first 3 5 5, there's a rest, and then go up, down, change, up, down, change, up, down, da 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 da. So that's section 1. That goes 2 times, 7 seconds to 29 seconds. Section 2 comes in. Really cool part here. And I gotta turn the page. If I can play that without changing the page. Again. Now, on this, probably be a little tricky. It's kind of in the solo area, but he's using it rhythmically. Open A, this is 30 seconds to 34 seconds. It's only a 4-second part. Open again on the A, and then the rest of this is palm muted. 3-2 A, open D, 3A. So we have, and then 2 open on the D, 3-2 open on the D. That could be a subgroup. And then 3-2 A, or 3-2 open on the A, 4E, and then this might be tricky too. Then this is something that you can eliminate if you want. The 5th fret E, he's applying what's called a pinch harmonic, slicing into the string, and vibratoing, which is shaking the string. If it's too much, man, just, you can go and just stay on it, okay? Especially if you haven't done pinch harmonics, because they take some practice. And then that slide, so when you slide it, if you choose to do that, slide it to around 3rd fret and then just stick your hand over the string so you don't hear the stop point of that. Section 3A, we have a 3A and a 3B. 3B is really short, and this is similar to the beginning. I believe this is the verse where the vocals come in, and that's goes like this. Play it slower for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just lost my place. The second half of it would be. So you can hear the resemblance there. Next part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this will look familiar. So the ending of this is exactly the same as the ending of section 1. Alright, so briefly explain this to you here. Don't confuse it with section 1 because it's very similar. The open A, 2D, open A again, and then we're up to the 7DG. Palm muted open A, 7DG, slide to 5. Open A palm mute once, hit the 5-5DG again. And this might seem a little tricky. It's an odd count of 5 open A's palm muted. So it'd be from the 5-5DG, you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have to audibly count those 5, go for it. Eventually it'll just be natural, but make sure you're getting the 5 in there. And then we're back to the 2-3A, open A, 2D, palm muted open A, 7D and G. Here's some familiar stuff. Oops. Open A palm mute, 7DG, slide to 5. 2 open A's palm muted, and that's actually a good subgroup because then you'll go 3A, pull off to open, palm muted A, and then the 3D 5G power chord with the rest. So if you subgroup that, you'd have. All right. So. And then open 2, AD, open A, back to the 7s again. Palm muted A, open, 7, slide into 5, DG, palm muted A, 5, D and G, with the open A 5 times palm muted after it. So that's a repeat. 2, 3, A, and then this part you learned at the end of section 1, 1, 3, 3. You're going 1, 2, 3 in the changes. That's 2 2 times, but the second time you'll see in your tabs no star. It's basically like going 2.5 times. You would repeat up to. Oops. See, and then right after that you'll have the star. You won't play out the rest of that section. Then we have section 3B, which follows the no star. Section 3B, 52 to 57 seconds. You'll see underneath the tabs an 8 count. It's like 2 measures worth. You go 1, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 5, 5 twice. Open 2, 2 once with the rest. And that's all in the E, A, and D. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, then section 4 comes in. Another variation of like the intro here. 58 seconds to a minute and 11, and this will go like this. Alright? But now it changes. 1, 3, 3, E, A, D, and it's a measure's worth. So it's pretty simple. You'll just count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go to 3, 5, 5. So we have. Oops, try it again. I'm losing it. Then start it over. And then we have a different ending this time. This will be 3A, 5D, 5G. When you do this, Dominic, try to mute underneath the low E string. Don't push it down, just to mute it in case you hit it by accident over here. It's a good habit to instill these mutings. Mutes can be just as important as the note you're playing, and you'll find out if you hit a string that's not muted, it could sound real bad. So another measure worth here. Move that to 5, 7, 7. And then this part, that's how they end it. And that's 7A pulling off to the 5th fret, so you want to set them both down. Pick, pull, 7E palm mute, repeat all that. Hit the 7A, palm muted open E, and then open E to a rest. You hit those together. And the tabs, when it's a chord, you'll notice they're stacked on top of each other. Okay, that's how you know to hit them all at the same time. Then we got section 3A 2 times, second time no star, section 3B 1 time, section 4 1 time, and then this part, which is probably the hardest part in the song, I think, 149 to 158, open D, 2G, 3B. You'll hit those 3 and then palm mute the open D 5 times. And then hit the 2G, 3B, open D palm mute once, and then jump that shape up to 5 and 6, G and B. And then another 5 open Ds palm muted. And then hit 5, 6, GB again. So we have. Wait, see. See what I mean? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit the chord again. Then palm mute. When you hit that 1 palm mute, it's a good time to move this up to 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit the 5, 6 again. 2 open Ds palm muted. Then move it back a half step flat to 4G, 5B. 4 open Ds palm muted. Then the 4G, 5B again. And then 2 open Ds palm muted. That in itself can be, you know, like I said, a subgroup can be very small. It could be, and just you repeating it. Alright, and then 3G, 4B, and with your first finger try to mute the underneath of the D string, because he's going down, up, down on, down, up, down on that. And then upstroke, you gotta jump this chord up to 5G, 6B, so it'd be, where are we at here? 3, 4. And an open D palm muted. Then it says second time no star, you would repeat all that, but don't play this. Instead, and this is the weirdest part of this song, really weird sounding chord. 4G middle finger. This is section 5B, 158 to 2 minutes, and that's just 2 seconds. And bar the 3rd fret on the B and E. Now you can alter the fingers if you need to. If the barring is too hard, use 3 fingers. But go down, up, down, up, down on that. Middle finger, mute the G, or mute the D, the underneath of it. Down, up, down, up, down, up. That last up is 2 or 4G, and then barring the 6th fret on the B and the high E. Now if that's too weird to do with that fingering, if you want to switch it, or if all of that's too weird, process of elimination, Dominic, just take off one of the strings that you're playing and play it as a 2-string thing, alright? Rhythm for solo is 2 minutes to 2 minutes and 27 seconds. This is one of the easier parts, I think. 7A, 9D, we'll go. But I want to point out a few things for you in this, but that'll be in the next part 2 video.